Making sense of investing.
Baylor Athletic Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, with us on SicEm365 Radio. So, did anything really get accomplished, Mack, yesterday in Austin? Did anything that will help the Big 12, help Baylor, help others, did anything really come out of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and probably still trying to candidly process that. I do think just educating all that were present in terms of how this went down, and then quite frankly the ramifications of it, and particularly for the three institutions. I do think that was eye-opening for many. I think, in the future, are there, I don't know, is there legislation put in place? Is there, rules put in place in terms of how, things of this nature that impact so many are decided, or is there a different step process to go through? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What happens from here. It's certainly, and we certainly knew that going in. It wasn't meant to keep Texas from going to the SEC. I think we all knew that and understood that. I think it was, trying to learn more about how it all transpired, and then, how maybe, this can be better handled in the future. And then, is there anything that our political leaders can do to assist the Big 12, help three Texas institutions, etc.
What are your thoughts about Bob Bowlesby saying that he and the commissioner of the Pac-12 will meet, whether that is to form a scheduling alliance? Is it the possibility of looking down the road as a different conference or a joining conference, or what? What are your thoughts about what might happen, and how excited are you that they're at least talking?
Yeah. One, it's not my place to confirm whether they're talking or not, but I would say that's what your commissioner is supposed to be doing, right? We're counting on the commissioner. We're counting on Bob to provide some direction and some different options, pathways, right? I don't think you could just focus on one. I think that for us. For Baylor, for the remaining 8, for the 3 Texas schools, right? Looking at a variety of options, and the conversation, again, I'm not going to confirm, but if that conversation happened between the commissioner and the Pac-12 commissioner, I would say, yeah, kudos to Bob, because he needs to be exploring all of those options, and I know he's doing that, and will continue to do that.
Should that have been something that was going on even well before either Texas and Oklahoma became disgruntled with what the conference is like?
Well, how do you know it wasn't? Look. I think, the truth of the matter was, there were probably, more conversations and thoughts and strategy about future, and then COVID hit. And then I think every conference, was just engulfed in that, and trying to find a way to make sure our student athletes could compete, in a healthy way. And then I think, changing commissioners, three of the 5, had changes, and going through those transitions. I do think that, the Big 12 is in the midst of some strategy discussions. I don't know that there was anything more. And when you think about, 2025, COVID, I think we were, I think the commissioner and the conference was engaging and exploring different ideas.
Do you believe, Mack, and you hear a lot about why Texas and Oklahoma are leaving? We know what they are looking at, the possibility of massive amount of money. They are saying, and in fact, yesterday, the stability of the future business a product of the athletics departments. Do you believe that Texas and Oklahoma tried to help make the Big 12 even better, other than the fact that both of them were a part of the conference?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. It's a great question, and it's a question that I'd be asking. It's a question that if I were a person able to ask questions yesterday, I would have asked. I think candidly, I believe that they could have done more. I believe that they could have really been part of the solution. And some of the conversation was just the value of Texas and Oklahoma to the Big 12, and that's not unlike any of the other conferences. When you think of you can go from this conference to the other 4 Autonomy 5 conferences, and there are 2 or 3 anchors in every one of those conferences, and so I guess in the end I would have liked some more transparent conversation. How can they be part of the solution? And quite frankly, if they were unhappy or they felt like Big 12 not stable, to have those conversations with our commissioner prior to having any conversations with another conference. And maybe they did, but that's certainly not my understanding.
But if they had at least been more transparent of what they were looking at, even during some of the negotiations or talks about TV revenue, grant of rights, or whatever, would the reaction still have been the same from Bowlesby and the 8 remaining schools of how the hell can you do this and why are you doing this? If they would have said, listen, Bob, we're not just talking about some ideas. We need bullet points right now. Would that have helped lessen the impact or maybe the animosity at all?
Yeah, I do. And, it certainly would have, given the conference, given, the other 8 member institutions to prepare for the inevitable, or work together in terms of how can we be creative, how can we make this work in the future. I don't want to speak on behalf of the other 7, but I do strongly believe that that would have felt better for all of us.
You made the comment about that you mistakenly considered the Big 12 Conference as something of a family. I know how you look at Baylor across the board, all the different student athletes, the university, athletic department, whatever else. Is that the way you thought the Big 12 was in your terms of family? Is that what hurts right now, if that's the right word to use?
Yeah, I think that, I think all of us believed, and when I say all of us, I certainly thought all 10 and certainly 8, because of the conversations we had together, the 10 of us, right? And because of the comments and the types of discussions we had, certainly felt and believed that there was a strong sense of unity. In fact, I think I've been on your on the broadcast, even stating that the Big 12 is in a really good place, unity, all of those things. All 10 athletic directors, in a good place with each other. All 10 presidents, chancellors, in a good place with each other. And I really felt like, I think we all felt like, the attitude was, yes, we're all individually doing everything we can, what's best for our own programs, but we all understood too that, the sum of the parts is much greater than any individual. And I do think, when we were on a national stage, the Big 12 national stage, we were actually rooting for one another, because that's what was best for our conference. And again, that's probably why, again, for the 8 of us, probably why it stung.
Does that now mean, and do you truly believe now, because there are 8 teams now remaining with their athletics future on the line, whether it's Power 5, autonomy, whatever you want to say, do you believe right now that all 8 are like what you thought the Big 12 is like, knowing that nobody really has much more to offer than the other person? That doesn't mean they don't have anything to offer, whether it's West Virginia, Iowa State, Tech, or whoever. Do you feel like now that the 8 have rallied around each other and they truly are telling the truth about how they feel and what they want, and that they are together to keep this thing alive?
Yeah, I think right now, yes. I think the 8 are in a good place in terms of is there a pathway for us together, right? Is that the best pathway? What are those pathways? And so, yes, I do think there's a true sincerity, and when you think about, grant of rights not expiring until, spring of 2025, and at least Texas and Oklahoma being vocal, both presidents being vocal about staying in till 2025. The revenues associated with that, I think we've got some time to figure this out. The 8 of us. Now, look, I'm not naive enough, to know if something happens where all of a sudden there's not that optimism, then schools are going to go and default to what's individually best for them. But I think everybody's prepared to do all that they can to run out these ground balls, these different potential options that the commissioner is working on. And so, I think we're all together in that place. I know our Baylor family, they're obviously very, very concerned in terms of Baylor's fate. I can tell you nobody's more concerned about Baylor's future than Linda and myself and our board chair Roundtree, and our board of regents, and we're doing our due diligence as well.
You weren't around when the Big 12 was formed in 90. Well, it was formed before, but 96 their first year, and also I believe you were at the beginning of when there was some discussion about expansion with some of the schools outside of the Big 12, and that did not work out. Do you think Rice or Houston or SMU have a right to look back at that legislative meeting yesterday and go, wait a minute, where was everybody 20 years ago? And or do you guys regret not expanding even if somebody didn't want to back 4 or 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah, I think to the first question, I mean, I have no idea. That was a long time ago. I think I was probably in Indiana. Amy and I were, and we had a 9-month-old daughter, Nicolette, and I was trying to get my master's, and so I'm sure that if you're in those shoes, whether it's Houston, whether it's Rice, and the demise of the Southwest, yeah, you're probably saying, hey, how come no one came to our rescue? Not that anybody's coming to our rescue right now, but I'm certain they could feel that way. And then and forgive me, the second part of the question
was when schools outside, you guys looked at the possibility of expansion. When that popped up yet again, was that now something that you wish would have happened, or is that just the ultimate armchair quarterback question?
So I wasn't the athletic director yet. I certainly heard about it, and I think and I could have the timing off, but I think when I was announced during the 12 media football days, I think that's when they were still in process of maybe interviewing some schools, and then it was shortly thereafter they made the decision not to add. I think the conference made the best decision that they could at the time with the different leaders in the room, and obviously they felt strong about 10 and the revenue and I think that's probably to be candid with you, if you look back and again from what I understand, and I'm trying to recall if I was in a meeting when we even talked about this, but I think what's probably disappointing for the 8 of us is my understanding that both of those institutions were strong about not adding, and that we're stronger as 10 than as 12, and 5 years later they've made a decision for their own reasons to leave, and I think that's probably disappointing for many.
You made a pretty stinging comment about the University of Texas about how they think of themselves in that testimony yesterday in front of the Senate. Is that something you wrote? Is that something you've been feeling for a while? Is that something that when you said it, did it kind of give you kind of a sense of relief, or did you know that eventually you would never get Christmas cards from Austin, Texas? Well,
I don't know that I was ever going to get a Christmas card from Austin, Texas before I said that. So, that changed that. But look, I mean, the point was intentional. I'm not trying to take shots at anyone, but hey, I believe that they could have been part of the solution, and we could have had an opportunity to really make the Big 12 something special, and obviously they didn't believe that. Decided that that's not what they wanted to do.
Mack, you have always been someone, since you arrived on campus in the middle of dark clouds, it seems like you have almost not so much that you want to thrive, that you look forward to this chaos, but the word is, it seems like you do thrive when things are like this, and you have faced numerous opportunities to face chaos at Baylor. How much does this mean to you to fight for Baylor right now? And really for everyone else that's also involved, but your job is to fight for Baylor. How pissed off are you, excuse my language, or how much does this mean to you to somehow get this and help Baylor survive to keep their Power 5 and autonomy standing?
Everything. I think in those comments that I wrote, they I was intentional where, I said and talked about while I didn't like the circumstances that brought us together, I love the fact that I can, be there at the hearing to speak on behalf of the people that I deeply care about, the Baylor family. And so, it means everything to me. It means everything to me because I believe in this institution. I believe in this institution with all of my heart. Certainly not perfect. We know that. We've made our share of mistakes, but I think it's really healthy. I think it's really good for big time intercollegiate athletics to have a Christian university compete and compete really well at the highest level. You go back to this year, 10 teams ranked in the top 10. Men's basketball wins the national championship, acrobatics and tumbling, all of those things. And so, and more than anything, I believe in our people. And I was very intentional when I talked about having, 48% of the budget that UT has, and we're finding a way to scratch and claw and compete. Again, not just compete, but compete at a really high level, and it's because of the people. I love our people, and I will go to battle for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I will, I love this. I love this opportunity. We're going to land in a good place, and we're gonna do everything we can. We're going to be level-headed. We're going to be smart. We're going to be strategic. We're going to work our tails off. We've got a great president, a great board chair, a great board, great coaches, the best of the best in terms of student athletes. Our 220 full-time staff members, I'll put them up against anybody. We're going to fight, scratch, claw, compete, do everything we can, and we're going to be in a good place.
We don't know what's going to happen when Bob Bowlesby and the commissioner in the Pac-12 discuss whatever they do, and I know you say you got to kind of be careful what you can say or not. Do you feel, it's been almost 2 weeks now, 2 weeks tomorrow, when all hell broke loose with the story about Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. And, of course, everything immediately, oh, my God, what's going to happen? It's kind of like one of those scenes in The Office, and it's happening or whatever, negatively or positively. Do you truly believe that Baylor will be a Power 5 team, program, athletic department, even well past the grant of rights?
Yes, I do.
What makes you say that? What makes you say that? Well, kind of what you just mentioned, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's everything that I think it's everything I talked about. I think what's interesting about that question is you think about the amount of change and shift just within the last year when you think about name, image, and likeness and the Austin case, and of course it's been on our minds. It's been on our plates for the last couple of years, I guess. But there's been some big shifts in college athletics, and what does it look like in 2025? That's a long time from now, and so when you say Power 5. Will there be Power 5? But I do think Baylor will have a seat at the table. to compete at the highest level. I do. I believe that. I believe that God's gonna lead us, and we're gonna land in a great place. And I think collectively, as a team, we're gonna, like I said, fight and battle and scratch and be really strategic and smart about how we handle the future.
All the facilities, you mentioned the basketball arena, whatever it's going to be called, is everything. You had to place some things on kind of a hiatus because of COVID and the budget and the changes in the revenue. Is that now the case yet again with all of what you have planned in the football ops and also the basketball arena right now?
Yeah. One thing I want to say to the Baylor family. I mean, I'm very optimistic that we'll find a way for those projects to be completed. We have great donors and friends and family, and we may face a situation where we're gonna ask them or need them to do more. And they've already done a lot, and so grateful for that. But I do think that if called upon, our family has always responded positively, and we may need to do that. That's the reality of the situation. Just like COVID, reduced revenues. This lull, or the potential of maybe conference shift could change revenue, and so it's a reality that we have to deal with, and we'll sit. We're already reassessing, but I'm certainly not hitting the panic button, nor does anybody need to hit the panic button. We'll find a way.
All right, last thing, and I know that you're not asking anybody to feel sorry for you. You see all the back and forth with fan bases. Well, why do we have to carry so-and-so? And you mentioned that earlier in one of your answers about various conferences all have kind of those anchors compared to others. But you were on vacation when all of this went down. You've had to, and hey, that's part of your job. That's why you make the money you make, and that's part of being an AD at a Power 5. What has the last, I guess, since Wednesday afternoon, 2 weeks from yesterday or tomorrow, what has it been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be careful because I don't want people to feel like I'm exaggerating, and I'm not asking for anybody to have any sympathy. It's what I signed up for. It's my job, and I love it. So, period. End of story. But it's, as you can imagine, it's non-stop phone calls, starting, again, trying not to exaggerate. I was on Mountain Standard Time, so starting at 7 a.m., right? And, there were days where my last phone call was 11 p.m. And it's colleagues throughout the country. It's media folks. It's Zoom calls with board members, Zoom calls with select board members, conference calls, again, our donors and some of our donors, some of our alums. As you can imagine, Dr. Livingstone and I probably talking multiple times a day. And so it's just fast-paced, nonstop, morning to night, and that's what it's going to take. And we're not losing, I can tell you that. And we're going to continue to like I said, continue to fight. Today is a strange day for me because it has been, again, probably 14 days nonstop. And today, after the hearing, there's been a little bit of a lull today, and just trying to figure out that lull and process it and keep my mind in a good place. And I think the toughest thing hardest thing, just, being transparent and candid is, staying off that roller coaster of emotion. One phone call is a really good phone call. The next phone call is not so good of a phone call. Right. And just trying to be steady, trying to be resilient. I love the word relentless, and we're going to be relentless in the things that we control, and do everything we can to put Baylor in the very, very best position to continue to be and excel and be elite in terms of preparing champions for life. And despite all of our successes, thanks to our great coaches and student athletes and staff, I still remain steadfast that we have not hit our ceiling, not even close. Our best days are still ahead of us. I truly believe.
Have you had others in the business outside of ADs in the Big 12 tell you that hey, you guys have more than maybe people perceive at Baylor? Have you had anybody say that to you or kind of give you a little bit of reassurance? Not that you've asked for it.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I think there's people that have great respect for what we've been able to accomplish.
Thanks, Mack. Appreciate your time. I know you gave me about 30 plus minutes more than you have in your schedule. Appreciate your time. Good luck.
Thank you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, on many things since 2 weeks ago tomorrow at about 2:30 or so, when Brett Zorneman had that story about Texas, Oklahoma, and the SEC. Back with more SicEm365 Radio and 365 Sports on YouTube.